Hello, everybody. In this time, we are talking about individual demand. Individual demand represents the quantity demanded by a person for a good at a given price level. Two conditions: he has the willingness to buy and has the ability to buy at different price levels. The quantity demanded is also different. By the law of demand, the quantity demanded increases when the price falls and vice versa. Then, if we take individual demand for all consumers in the market, we get market demand have the same determinants. In addition to price, demand is also influenced by factors such as income, expectation of future prices, prices of related goods, and tastes and preferences. And then we move to individual demand curve. The individual demand curve will look similar to the market demand curve, but it focuses on the individual rather than the total consumer base. A market demand curve is in fact multiple individual demand curves summed up into a larger curve. In a sense, the individual demand curve looks at how much people are willing to pay for something. Much of an individual demand curve has to do with how much value a consumer gets from an item before they decide that it is no longer worth their time or money. When a company is looking at how consumers may respond to pricing regarding their product or service, knowing the demand curve allows for strategic decisions. And then we move to key differences between individual demand and market demand. There are the key differences between individual demand and market demand. The first, individual demand refers to the buying choices made by a single person, whereas market demand is the combined buying choices of everyone in a particular market. And then, second, individual demand can vary a lot, while market demand is less likely to change because of the diverse backgrounds of consumers and other aggregate effects. And then, third, market demand is influenced by factors such as economic conditions and population demographics. In contrast, individual demand is based on personal preferences, expectations, and income. And then, fourth, market demand is generally more stable, while individual demand is more likely to change and then due to personal circumstances. And then fifth, a personal demand, especially personal demand curve, represents individual demand. On the other hand, market demand represents the combinations of individual curves to show overall market behavior. And then, what are the determinants of individual demand? There are various factors considered by consumers. They include the first about income. When income rises, more rupiahs or dollars can be spent on a product. For normal goods, it is positively correlated with demand. It means demand increases when consumers have more income. In contrast, the correlation is negative for inferior goods, indicating a decrease in demand as income rises. And then second, branding. For example, a company can create consumer interest or preference for a product through promotion or advertising that ultimately leads to higher demand. And then the third, future price expectations. If buyers expect the price to increase in the future, they will buy now before it goes up. On the other hand, when the price is downward, they delay buying, waiting for it to fall further to get a cheaper price. And then fourth, tastes and preferences. When consumers are attracted to a product, they can spend more rupiahs or dollars to get more. Conversely, if they are bored or have no taste for the product, they will switch to alternative products. And then fifth, prices of complementary goods. For example, when the price of a printer goes down, its demand goes up, and so does the demand for ink, which is its complement. Conversely, if the price of printers increases, the demand for ink will also fall, following the decline in demand for printers. I think it is enough for this session. Thanks for watching, and don't forget give this channel with your like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you.